Here.
Dr. Duvall.
Here.
Mrs. Flanagan.
Here.
Mrs. Maddox.
Here.
Mr. Milner.
Here.
Dr. Stambaugh.
Here.
Mr. Thayer.
Here.
You have been presented with the agenda in advance. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. I'd like to welcome our visitors this morning. I see a lot of school people here, and I know you've got a lot of work to do this time of year, and you've got to be back at school, so we'll try to move through this very quickly. This morning we're going to ask Mr. Milner to do our invocation and Mrs. Flanagan to do our pledge of allegiance. We'll stand with us.
Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you, dear Lord, for our assemblage here today. Thank you, dear Lord, for all that are assembled here. We pray, dear Lord, that you bless us as we start another school year here in Henry County. We pray, Lord, that whatever decision we make will be the best interest of the children, parents, teachers, administrators, all that's concerned with the education of our children. Bless us, dear Lord, to do our best, to do thy will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do not believe that we have any, well, yes, she snuck in on me. Mrs. Carre is here with us this morning, and we've made some comments today.
Thank you. And I apologize for being tardy. Some of you may know we were called out of town last week, and I got back in late last night. I wanted to share with you folks why a strong association is important to Henry County Public Schools. Last year, this summer actually, for last year's work, HCEA won an award for our growth in the state. We won the 2016 A+ award from the Virginia Education Association. We won that for 13% growth. The year before, we grew 10%. And I want to tell you why we are working to build our membership. As we build membership, we build people who are concerned for our students. We build people who care about what happens in Henry County Public Schools. I shared with Dr. Cotton earlier this summer, and I will share with you folks by tomorrow evening, if you will give me that privilege, please. A document that came from it was written about a study from Harvard. And I'm sorry, I failed to remember the lady's name at this point, but she did a study because 4 states had recently become right-to-work states, as we have been since, I think, 1947 perhaps. And so the idea was, looking at this to see if it had improved education in any respect. And of course, the public idea is that weaker teachers' unions will produce better schools. She found quite the opposite had happened. And in short, there are many reasons, but one of the reasons, of course, that this happened is because better teachers could go better places with better pay. We've always known better teachers can go somewhere better. Virginia suffers from the double whammy. We see this happening not just because we're a right-to-work state. We see this happening because of our SOLs that God love the Virginia Department of Education a few years ago, made them harder because that makes us better. That doesn't make us better. That just makes it harder for students who are weaker, and it wasn't the right thinking. I think we have had the right attitude though in the last couple of years. We listened to Ann Holton a couple of weeks ago. I had the privilege of sitting and listening to her, listening to Dr. Stephen Staples, both from the Department of Education. I think we're headed in the right direction these days. I really do. And of course, Ann Holton has now resigned. We know that. But I still think that the Department of Education in Virginia is headed in the right direction. However, what has happened in Virginia is as more schools go into academic review, and as the teachers are put under additional pressures, those teachers leave. Because there is a limit to what any person can physically endure. And so, we have seen this happen around the state. We have seen this happen in some of our own localities that surround us. One of the things this board has done well is that they have paid attention to our teacher pay. We haven't always agreed, and we may not always agree, but I'm going to tell you one of the things you've done well is pay attention to teacher employee pay. And I'm not talking about just teachers, I'm talking about all employees. When you care about a living wage for every employee, that's important. That means we're not scrounging to find the best teachers. We're finding the best teachers when we have the best pay in our locality. And I want to thank you for what's happening in that area this coming school year. That's a good thing. I want you to understand that as we grow as an association, we are not growing to work against our school system. We are growing to work with our school system. I think you will see by December we'll present a report about what we're doing right now. Dr. Cotton was kind enough to let us go to campaign and launch training in April. We have a plan. We're going to be working with the community. You're going to see that we care about more than employee pay. And we do care about that. But we care about what our kids have. We care about the furniture in the classrooms, the books in the classrooms, the curriculum that's available. And those are the things, and we're going to be reaching out to the community. We don't want you to feel threatened by that. We want you to understand that as we do these things, we are working to make Henry County Public Schools the best schools in the state of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. The third section of our agenda this morning is the awards and recognitions. Mrs. Patchett will be introduced.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to come to you today to share some honors for several of our schools and work sites. As you know, we conduct an annual United Way campaign which benefits students and families in our community. And this year, several of our sites earned awards for increasing their giving. The first group that we will be presenting certificates to this morning earned the President's Campaign Award. They each had an increase in giving by 10% last year. So I'd like to call forward a representative from our Henry County Public Schools bus garage. Collinsville Primary School. And SB Middle School. And they're going to remain standing so that we can take a group picture at the end. The next group earns the Employee Excellence Campaign Award. These sites increased their giving by 20% or more last year, so increasing to benefit our families in a great way. And those sites were Bassett High School, Drury Mason Elementary, George Washington Carver Elementary, Conrad Smith Elementary. Our maintenance department. Mount Olivet Elementary. And Ridge Acres Elementary School. We want to thank each of these campaign leaders and school representatives for being here this morning because they worked really hard to encourage their staffs to give even more than they had given in the past. So we appreciate that, and we thank you for your representation of our school community. If you all will gather together on the stairs, we're going to take a group photo.
And one more. Ready, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do one really excited, so just go, woohoo! 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you.
If you want to stay, the next award is actually being presented to us. We're happy this morning to welcome Marnie Mills from the American Heart Association. Good morning. My name is Marnie Mills, and I'm the Youth Market Director for the American Heart Association here in Southwest Virginia. And I have the pleasure of being here today to present a Circle of Excellence Award for Henry County Schools. And this award is very special. This is an award that was achievable by everybody participating and having a collaboration from Dr. Cotton, from administration, down to the principals, down to the PE teachers, down to the children, to their families. And this was an award where there was growth in the county for how much was raised. Every single school participated, and they all had heart-healthy pep rallies, either from the teachers or from myself. And what we're trying to do is instill in the children the importance of heart health. Right now, heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women, and it's the #2 killer now of children behind accidents. And we really believe the importance of getting into the schools, meeting with the children, teaching them the importance about being heart healthy through exercise and diet, and also the importance of giving back. And what we talk about a lot during these Jump Rope for Heart events is why we are doing Jump Rope for Heart. And everybody has their own personal why. And my personal why is I had a 16-year-old cousin that died during a soccer game from cardiac arrest. And there was not anybody there to help him in the amount of time that he needed the help. And so one of our big initiatives now is CPR, that kids can learn hands-only CPR. This is going to be the first year that the high school graduates will be all have taught and learned how to do hands-only CPR, which is very important. And then what may have saved my cousin was, even just in the past year, was legislation was just passed through the donations and through these programs, just like Jump Rope for Heart, that now when babies are born, they will actually have a pulse oximetry test, which measures the oxygen in the blood. It's a little probe that goes on the finger, and it's a great, great way that they can actually detect heart disease or heart defects at birth. And that would not have been possible without the support of everybody here and these programs. So I just wanted to thank everybody, and also mention that only 2 counties in all of Southwest Virginia achieved this award. I have 28 counties, and this is only
only 8 in all of the Mid-Atlantic affiliates. So that's Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So this was really, really, really amazing. So I just wanted to thank everybody so much.
Did Dr. Cotton jump rope too, or what?
Or we'll have them come to one of them.
You know better than next year, right?
One more this way. 1, 2. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm prone to injury, so I don't jump rope.
We'll move into the fourth section of our agenda, the informational agenda. I believe Mrs. Landon has several proposed revisions to our policy manual.
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chairman and members of the board. All right, this month's proposed policy revisions have been revised to reflect efforts to bring policies and regulations in compliance with amendments to Virginia Code or other regulations. They may be found on board docs under the featured tab, Policies Under Consideration. Because of this year's convening of the General Assembly, there are quite a few revisions this year, most that are the result of amendment to Virginia Code. So I will go through a brief summary of the major changes. The following policy changes have been prompted by the amendments for enactment of Virginia Code. Policy BBFA, Conflict of Interests and Disclosure of Economic Interests, is being updated to reflect revisions to the State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act regarding who may provide written opinions on potential conflicts of interest and the legal weight of those opinions in criminal proceedings under the Act. Policy BDC, Closed Meetings, is being updated to reflect a new statutory provisions that elected school boards may not discuss board member compensation in closed session, as well as that a public record cannot be withheld from production in its entirety when it contains both information which must be released under the Freedom of Information Act, as well as information which is not required to be released. Policy DJ, Small Purchasing, is being revised to reflect amendment that pursuant to written procedures not requiring competitive bids or competitive negotiation, the school board may enter into single or term contracts for transportation-related construction if the aggregate or sum of all phases is not expected to exceed $25,000. Policy EBB, Threat Assessment Teams, has a couple of major revisions. One is that it's being revised to allow the threat assessment teams to assess and intervene with individuals whose behavior may pose a threat to either our staff or to our students, as well as to allow the team to obtain criminal history record information and health records for an individual who poses a threat of violence. It does require that although they may obtain that information, they may not disclose any of that information beyond what those purposes were. Policy EBCB, Safety Drills, is being revised to require each school to hold 2 fire drills and 2 lockdown drills during the first 20 days of school, as well as at least 2 additional fire and lockdown drills during the remainder of the school session. Policy GBL, Personnel Records, is being revised to clarify when and in what manner teacher performance indicators or other data from personnel files may be disclosed. Policy GC, Professional Staff, reflects revisions to Virginia Code clarifying the licensure requirements of teachers being regularly employed by the school board or paid by public funds, as well as the elimination of local teacher licenses. Policy GCA, Local teacher licenses, is being deleted because local licenses are no longer allowed to be issued by school boards, and all of the ones that were in place have already expired. Policy IA, Instructional Goals and Objectives, is being revised to reflect revisions to code requiring that the program of instruction include an emphasis on computer science and computational thinking, including computer coding, in addition to the instructional requirements that are already in place.
Policy IAA, notification of learning objectives, is being revised to reflect revisions to the parent notifications that are required regarding student graduation requirements. Policy IGAH, family life education, is being updated to reflect new standards of learning objectives related to dating violence and the characteristics of abusive relationships. This next one pertains to at least 5 of our policies. They are IGBG, homebound, correspondence, and alternative means of instruction, IHB, class size, IKEB, acceleration, IKF, standards of learning tests and graduation requirements, and IKFA, locally awarded verified credits. These are being updated to reflect Virginia Code Amendment that removes existing provisions relating to graduation requirements, provides a procedure for the establishment of new graduation requirements, and specifies the dates by which such requirements shall apply to each student who enrolls in high school. Policy IHB, class size, is being updated to reflect a new statutory requirement that parents be notified if at any time after September 30th of a school year, their student's class size exceeds the size limit established by law in the standards of quality. Policy JRCA, school service providers' use of student personal information, is a new policy, and this policy provides requirements and prohibitions for how school service providers may use and handle student personal information. Policy KBA, as well as regulation KBA-R, requests for information. Both are being revised to provide for the designation of a Freedom of Information Act officer or FOIA officer, as well as to provide the name and contact information for the division's FOIA officer. The following additional changes are also being recommended at this time. Policies BDDH and KD, public participation at school board meetings, include a VSBA recommended revision to assist the school board chairman in conducting more efficient meetings. Revisions will require that upon recognition from the school board chairman, a speaker shall address himself to the chairman, and if upon conclusion of the speaker's remarks, another member of the board wishes to address the speaker, they may do so only with the permission of the chairman. Policy GBMA, support staff grievances, is being replaced with the language currently included as GBMA-R, and GBMA-R is being deleted. So basically, the procedure there is not changing at all. It's just being changed from a regulation to a policy. Policy GDG, support staff probationary period, reflects a revised support staff probationary period of 1 year. And Policy JB, equal educational opportunity and non-discrimination, and JFHA, prohibition against harassment and discrimination, are being updated to reflect new compliance and alternative compliance officers because of changes in staff. Other proposed changes mainly are editorial or providing updates to legal references or cross-references. The majority of these revisions have been recommended to us by the Virginia School Boards Association, and all have been verified for legality either by the VSBA or legal counsel. They will be presented to you for approval at the next scheduled meeting on September 1st, 2016. Are there any questions? I know there were a lot.
Do we have a copy of what you just read?
We always share that. Yes, sir.
Noticing the summary is not attached, but we will attach it to all of the policies for review, as the item says in the agenda, are all available to the public and everyone to review. But Mrs. Landon does a summary sheet just to bring your attention to important changes throughout. So we'll make sure that's attached.
Thank you.
Thank you. Scott will have to give us an update on Medicaid.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the school board. Just wanted to kind of give you a couple little updates of what's been taking place this past month with Meadowview Elementary. We've actually held 2 coordination meetings with our contractor, G&H Contracting. The second one just took place yesterday. Worked out the details with our contracts, and they're kind of in the works now to start their signatures. The purchase order being with the first installment of the pay for this construction is actually being entered this afternoon, and we're pretty excited. It looks like we might see some activity out there by Monday of next week, weather permitting. Now, of course, they're calling for some more rain this weekend, but it looks like they're starting their mobilization, and we should have some site work beginning next week if everything goes to plan. We also, I don't know if you've been by there or not, but AEP's finished building their power line that runs along 108. So we're pretty excited that that's completed. The demolition of the old power lines are complete. We're just waiting for once Comcast removes their cable line and puts it on the new poles, we'll have that portion complete as well. So just wanted to kind of give you those few updates and see if you had any questions at this point. It's pretty exciting. Thank you.
First item in the consent agenda this morning is approval of minutes, and also in that category we have the approval of bills for payment. Is there a motion to approve these as presented?
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the bills for payment, and the minutes from July 14th. All in favor, please raise your right hand. In the action agenda, we are looking at the approval of a contract for services for teaching the sensitive areas of the family life curriculum.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and members of the board. Family life education was first enacted in 1987 by the General Assembly, and you may be aware that for many years we've contracted with For the Children, our partners in prevention, to provide these services. The facilitators from this organization are trained by the DOE in Richmond, and they come back and provide this education to our children. We offer family life in grades 4 through 10. We also have a local committee that met last year, and in the committee in reviewing our curriculum in family life and what we're teaching, had an idea that possibly it would be helpful for parents if we posted on our website what we're actually teaching in family life. So if you do visit our website, you can see under the parent tab that 4 through 10 is listed as the grades that we teach family life, and a parent can click on that and see exactly the content that we are reviewing in family life. There also is an opt-out form on the website for parents to see and be able to send in to opt their child out of family life. We still send those opt-out letters home prior to family life being taught at each school. Each school has a schedule of when the family life education will occur. Also, you heard Ms. Landon mention the policy update for family life. We've already taken action on making sure that we were in compliance with that, and we are, because we are required to have abusive relationship and dating violence covered once in the middle school and twice in the high school. The other content that you would see in our family life curriculum includes self-awareness, abstinence, education, peer pressure, human reproduction, the etiquette and safety of using social media. So that all takes place, the training and the education of the children is provided by our partner. So it is recommended that the school board approve a contract for services with For the Children Partners in Prevention to teach the sensitive areas of family life for the 2016-17 school year at a cost of $23,000 that would come from a local budget of instruction and purchase services. Do you have any questions?
I know you mentioned the opt-out provision. Does that have to be done before the program starts, or can it be done during the program?
It could be done at any point. So actually, we do send it out since we have a schedule. We send Ms. Mabry actually sends the letters home, sends them to the schools. The schools send them home several weeks prior to give the parents a deadline to to when to get the opt-out forms back. But yes, indeed, if instruction begins and a child goes home and a parent realizes what's taking place and they don't like it, they can immediately opt out. Yes, sir.
And I assume that the principals have teachers in on these, like some male teachers are being on the boys' session and some lady teachers in on the ladies' section.
Yes, sir. And actually, we do divide the students up, male and female, for these discussions. And that is one of the things that the partners in prevention have said, that it's sometimes very difficult to find male facilitators. So they do ask me quite frequently if I have any people, any males specifically, that I could send their way. So if anyone wants to volunteer to be a facilitator and go through the training to be a family life facilitator, you could see me as well. I keep trying to recruit Mr. Lillens.
Are there other questions? Excuse me.
No, just tell me it's a good job. I'll come in the lab. See if they repeat it.
We'd entertain a motion to approve the contract for services for teaching in sensitive areas in the family life curriculum.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the contract for services for teaching in sensitive areas of the family life curriculum. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Mrs. Strader will also be talking with us this morning about the approval to purchase IXL for math and English language arts.
Yes, ma'am. You all know that IXL is a web-based program that allows students to practice their skills with English language arts and mathematics. And you may remember last year during the work session that you all were able to log on to IXL Math, and you were all able to show us your wonderful math skills in this using the program. Our students do have access to this program. It allows them to not only have the extra practice in math and English, but it also allows teachers to be able to manipulate data quickly, in real time, and be able to provide feedback and help students with weaknesses in these areas. We do plan to continue to buy IXL for our math K-12 and also for our English language arts students in grades K-5. The estimated cost will be $26,719 for the IXL math, which would be paid out of purchase services, and then $14,788 for the English language arts, which would come from the Title I grant. So it is recommended that the school board approve the purchase of the IXL English language arts and mathematics. If you have any questions.
I noticed you said that parents can check in on this too. Do we have any way of determining how many actually do look at it to see if to assist their students at home?
I don't know that. I know that when I went in as an administrator, I can see different things sometimes that teachers can see. As far as rights, teachers can see some things, parents can see some things, and then the principal can see different things. But I'm not sure if we can actually track who actually logged in, but I'm sure that's something we can ask the company and find out. We will find out. So that's an interesting question.
I move for approval of this request to purchase this program for math and English language arts program.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of IXL for math and English language arts. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Mrs. Austin is going to talk with us this morning about the approval of the budget calendar. It seems awfully early, Mrs. Austin. We're starting on the next.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. It seems like we just finished the 2017 budget yesterday, but it is that time, and we're looking at, we're approving it a month early because we would like to move some things back so it gives us more time to look at and process our budget. So we're presenting today the budget calendar for 2017 and 2018 in order to meet the guidelines set by the Code of Virginia, and it's recommended that the budget development calendar and associated activities be considered for approval by the board.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I just want to point out that we are not scheduling a roundtable meeting on this particular schedule. We used to have 2 roundtables, and then we went down to 1, and the attendance has been very light at those events. We tend to have just about 2 or 3 people that come. So what I'm proposing is we're not adding it to the schedule, but certainly as we go through the budget process, if we receive a lot of questions or if we have information that we need to share with a wider audience, then what we'll do is we'll schedule some open forum opportunities. But full disclosure, I just want to make sure that you're aware. I know Mr. Ocker, you came last year to the roundtable, and for the past few years, it hasn't been well attended. But again, I think it's something that we need to pay attention to as we move through the budget process, because we may have to schedule 1 or 2, depending on the questions or concerns that arise. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that at this point. It's not that we're trying to avoid sharing information, we just have not had good attendance at the last few.
Will we approve the budget calendar?
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the proposed 2018 budget development calendar and activities. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Our next area of concentration in the agenda this morning is the superintendent's reports. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is our back-to-school report that we like to do every August, because we're very busy during the summer preparing for the upcoming school year, and I'd like to share some of our accomplishments and some of the work in progress that we've been heavily involved in during the summer. The first item, preparing the routes. Transportation routes and bus schedules are being finalized this week as we prepare for back-to-school night, where we'll share bus information with families and for transporting students to school on the first day. And by the way, back to school is today. I know Mrs. Carter, that's what you have to look forward to a little bit later today, but we do have back to school night today from 12 to 7. Prepared and ready. Several school buses have undergone seat repairs this summer to ensure that students have a safe and comfortable ride to and from school each day during the 2016-17 school year. Reinforcing our infrastructure, the computer lab at Rich Acres Elementary underwent a rewire this month to ensure greater efficiency and connectivity throughout the school year. Hand to Mind has arrived. Teachers will work with Dr. Dan Mulligan during the 16-17 school year to plan and implement the use of hands-on math manipulatives in daily math instruction. The curriculum team was excited to receive and distribute those manipulatives this summer. We want to make sure that all of our teachers have the same manipulatives available to them, so that all of our students will have these as a resource in the classroom. Fiscal responsibility. The finance department has been working to implement software relating to I'm choking up here. The new Affordable Care Act requirements, and has confirmed dedications for voluntary benefits open enrollment to Munis to ensure all adjustments to employee pay are ready for the new fiscal year. New Bingle Tech and Media Center for Bassett High School. We're excited about the progress of the Bingle Tech Academy of Global Studies at Bassett High. The construction to transform part of the school to the new Bingle Tech Academy has been a big focus this summer. The school is also getting a new location for the Media Center as part of this renovation. And you see some of the work in progress here. Bassett High School's HOSTA program gets a new location. The HOSTA program at Bassett High School was relocated to a newly renovated area of the school to accommodate the building. The move was necessary as part of Bingle Tech renovations. New office location for the school nutrition department. The facilities maintenance department transformed the stage area at the Center for Community Learning to a new office location for school nutrition. The staff settled in and is ready to provide nutritional meals for our students. And I stopped by there yesterday. The space looks great. GW Carver Media Center gets a new look. As we continue to give our media centers a new look, the GW Carver Elementary Media Center is under renovation. This summer, our facilities maintenance team worked with contractors to begin demolition and remodeling the media center. The expected completion date is September 1st. A new ramp for Stanleytown Elementary. Our facilities maintenance team has also removed the old entrance to Stanleytown Elementary cafeteria and poured a new, safer, handicapped concrete ramp. This was necessary to eliminate a tripping hazard and make this area more easily accessible for our students and visitors. And by the way, I know when Stanleytown has been a voting precinct in the past, and I've stopped by there, community members commented on concerns about safety, so I'm glad that we were able to make that correction. The other thing is, just as a reminder, we are renovating all of our media centers, and we generally do 2 a year. And GW Carver's in the works, as well as Laurel Park Middle, and then of course we'll move to a couple others next year. Sanville Elementary gets a new greenhouse. With help from a grant, Sanville Elementary is getting a new greenhouse to enhance instruction. The facilities department has prepared the area where the new greenhouse will sit and expects to have a new greenhouse ready for students to use very soon. Preventive maintenance. A key item to providing good indoor air quality for our students' learning environment is changing the air filters and cleaning coils on all of our equipment on a regular basis. Performing preventive maintenance tasks such as this is a major part of the summer for our HVAC technicians. Schools cleaned and ready for students. The custodial team from Service Solutions has worked hard preparing each of the buildings so students and staff return to a clean and welcoming environment inside each school on the first day. Information update. The HR team has already assisted with the hiring and onboarding of more than 100 new employees, wow, for the 2016-17 school year. HR representatives have been working diligently with new employees to complete background screens, licensure applications, new hire paperwork, and benefits enrollments, as well as preparing and processing contracts for the new school year, updating policies and handbooks, and communicating new programs such as the new absence management program and online background screening platform for use by parent and community volunteers. That's why it looks so tired this morning. They've been busy this summer. Working on the front lines, administrators and secretarial staff from each school has participated in frontline team training this summer to ensure that the school community feels welcome as we collaborate for student success in the coming year. Advanced registration. As we implement the use of InfoSnap for student enrollment, a series of family help sessions is being held at schools across the district so that families can get help from tech support teams as they complete their student enrollment forms online. We're excited to provide this upgrade to student data safety to the families in our community, and we're hoping to get a lot of parents today during back to school. Mrs. Hatch, I think we have around 2,000 already.
We have about a third of our population now, but we expect that to increase greatly.
And about a third already signed up on InfoSnap, but during back to school today, all parents who have not yet verified their information are going to be encouraged to go to a place in school to go ahead and do that today. So hopefully we'll go up significantly today. But it's important for our parents to know that they have to go through this process. Instead of all of those papers coming home, like they have in the past, they're going to do all this online, but they also need to go through this process so that they can get student progress reports and report cards. So
will the SNAP, the codes be available today to them?
Yes.
So I know a letter went out with it, but in case people didn't realize and discarded that, so that will be readily available that they can start over and get that. Okay.
They'll have that information for them today as well. So we're hoping to get a lot on board today. While we still have more than we have about 5 positions left to fill. We're especially pleased to welcome new teachers last week to help them acclimate to Henry County Public Schools. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to our 20 new elementary school teachers that are featured here. Mrs. Maddox and I welcome them. Mr. Milner, I was in attendance as well to welcome them to Henry County. We also have 21 new middle school teachers that we're welcoming to Henry County schools and 20 new high school teachers, all of whom are very excited to partner with us as we support students during the upcoming school year. That does complete my update for today. Madam Chair, members of the board, and there are other items in my report section. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Are there questions for Dr. Cotton? If not, are there matters from the board this morning?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I would like to say that I appreciated the convocation, except for the hair. Oh my God, I haven't been nowhere so cold in my life. That was cranking up, crank down. But anyway, I enjoyed the speaker very much. He was very enthusiastic. I wished I had any kind of class with him. It was very good. So, but I also ran into an employee that was that had been sick a while back with a devastating illness, and she had given me some information which I knew we had really good insurance, and the insurance, she said that when she talks to people about our pay and how much, we appreciate our teachers making the best money that they can in our whole people. But the insurance, she said that she didn't care if she ever got a raise again. That the insurance that we have kept her from losing her home during her illness. And that can happen these days. My husband just had a hip surgery and a complete hip replacement. And we got a bill in the mail for $65,000. So insurance is a wonderful thing, and I appreciate them telling us about things that go on in their own lives. So thank you.
Are there other comments from the board? If not, I will remind you of the meeting dates and events that are listed in our agenda. The first day of school next week on the 10th, and Family Summit on the 13th at the Jack Dalton Park. I think is this our third one?
Is it our third?
Or second? Third?
It's probably third. It's our back to school. We have a lot of partners who come, who are in attendance, so it's a great event for our parents and families to come out.
And our monthly meetings are also listed. The conference is listed for the Legislative Advocacy Conference in Charlottesville in September, and the SBA Annual Convention in November in Williamsburg. And please let Mrs. Ogilvy know so that she can get your reservations made as soon as possible.
Madam Chair, I just want to point out that at the November VSBA Annual Convention, we have been asked to present two presentations. We're going to present on our coding in the classroom, computer science. We did a mini session at the Conference on Education in Richmond, and it was so well attended that they asked us to present at this convention. And we're also presenting on our social media communication. We received that Magna Award for that, and we've been asked to share that as well. So we have two presentations already booked, and I think the exciting thing is we were asked to do the presentations. We had not submitted, so that's a positive thing. We're encouraged to sign up. So come see us in action. Come heckle us in the audience, like you usually do.
If there are no other comments, we will ask for a motion.
I was just listening and I didn't get it all, that's why I asked for a comment in writing. I heard something about a change in policies where we no longer give temporary license. Have we thought about what effect this may have on us? Have we looked into it? What percentage, how many do we normally do a year?
We can pull that information for you. Do you want to speak to that now?
That actually was a change that took place in July of 2013, and Henry County Schools has not issued a local license since well before that. They were all gone when I came in 2013, so it does not impact the ability to issue a 3-year provisional license, which may be, that is... A local license would be issued by a school board, and Henry County Schools has not issued a local license for many years. The Virginia Department of Education does still offer a 3-year non-renewable provisional license, which allows people who have not satisfied all of the requirements, but they've satisfied enough to be able to get that 3-year provisional license, and then they still have that 3-year period to complete the remaining requirements for full licensure. So that should not impact us in any way from the way we've been operating for the past several years.
I got the two mixed up, provisional and global.
Yeah, we do have staff members that we have to apply for a provisional license, and it's for 3 years. We also have to wait until we get confirmation from the State Department that they will receive a provisional license. So sometimes we have to start teachers on a substitute pay until that happens. And it can take several weeks in some cases, so we have to make sure that we're not allowed to pay staff members with state funds who don't have a license.
That takes care of it.
If not, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss appointments and separation of personnel and evaluation of superintendent, student matters, legal matters, and, but we need a motion to go into executive.
So moved.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Recommendation regarding placement of division students, and also those students coming from out of our district be approved as presented.
Moved and seconded to approve the recommendations of the special placement